Welcome to Bioethics channel. Today we will continue to brainstorm on bioethical issues and challenges. Bioethics has become to be about looking at the moral aspect of science and scientific technology. Look at technoscience, the moral issues arising from advancement in technoscience. We're going to be looking at the issue of surrogate motherhood, or otherwise called surrogacy. What are the issues? What are the controversies surrounding this practice? I remain your regular anchor, Pascal Aneke, Department of Philosophy, University of Lagos, Nigeria.
I am Matthew Tolu, PhD, University of Lagos.
I am Mola Bangura, PhD Economics, University of Lagos.
Thank you, you are welcome. So we're going to look at what is surrogacy, who is involved in surrogacy, who might need it, what are the issues and controversies surrounding this practice. Normally we like to read it out from our own bulletin, then we throw it open for discussion, open-ended discussion. Let me go through what we have here. When surrogacy involves a person agreeing to carry and give birth to a baby for someone else. After the baby is born, the birth parent gives custody and guardianship to the intended parents or parents. You see, surrogacy has complex legal and medical stages that must be met. It is important to be aware of the process, seek professional advice, and build supportive network. In this practice, a woman is ready and willing to carry pregnancy and bring a pregnancy to term on behalf of another woman. In other words, she makes her womb available for use by another woman to have a child, with the promise or hope or agreement of surrendering the baby at birth. And we know that sometimes issues arise when at birth the woman refuses to surrender the baby, making child become subject of legal tussle for custody. So let us look at this. Look at surrogacy. Who is involved? Now, who is involved here? A person who agrees to carry and give birth to a baby for someone else is known as the surrogate or birth parent. The person or couple who will receive the baby once it is born are known as intended or commissioning parents. So, in the case of a woman, maybe 3 mothers involved, when another woman brings her egg, then this woman's womb is used, and there's an intending mother, the adoptive mother. We have 3 mothers to a child, which also bring its own ethical issues. But many other people need to be considered before taking these life-changing steps, including the partner and children of a surrogate, and other children of the intended parents, and egg or sperm donors, if any, and their families. So why might I need to use a surrogate? It may be a question someone asks. And surrogacy gives people an opportunity to have a child if they cannot be pregnant themselves. People who might want to use surrogacy include 1, females who have a problem with their uterus or have had their uterus removed because of one medical condition or the other. Then females with health condition that could make it dangerous for them to be pregnant. Then single or gay males. What type of surrogacy are there? And we can look at the types of surrogacy. We have what about traditional surrogacy. The traditional surrogacy has to do with the situation whereby a woman, the woman that will carry the pregnancy is still the woman whose egg is used in the process. Then the gestational surrogacy is when egg comes from a different woman. So this woman, the birth mother is just make her womb available for use. So she has no genetic connection with the baby that is to be born through this process. But traditional surrogacy was bringing in issues like in the famous baby M case, which we'll be looking into. And because of issues arising from that, then the gestational surrogacy came up to replace that, so that the intending parents of the family must furnish, either donate their egg or sperm to the process, so they have genetic link with the child. So we don't need to go too deep into this. All we know that in surrogacy, there could be 2 mothers when a woman under the traditional setting or traditional type of surrogacy, the woman donates her egg, and then her own egg is used in the process. Her womb, her egg used. So she's both genetically connected to the child and then biologically connected. Then in another instance, a different woman brings egg, a different woman makes her womb available. While there's an intending mother, a contractual person who in the first place intends to have a baby. So in that case, we have 3 mothers to a baby. So but let us examine some issues and some controversies surrounding this practice, vis-a-vis contemporary realities, and even our own family system and our cultural belief in parenthood and procreation and family building. Dr. Todo, I think I'll start with you.
Okay, we should examine some of the issues, right? Well, first and foremost, I'd like to begin by saying that surrogacy is an aftermath of the advancement of science and technology. And for that reason, I think it should be welcomed because science and technology has more advantages than disadvantages. That's what I say. But I think the issues, in my own view, surrogacy is a welcome development because it's useful to society. We live in a society where people tend to be more pragmatic these days. What will favor us in long and short term, and how will favor us, and especially shortcuts to making things easy or making things happen. So if surrogacy is going to assist, it's going to make life easy despite few hiccups, I think it's a good development. Now, one of the issues I noticed is the issue of who is really the parent of the kid. I think it will have legal and economic implications. I think that's where the economics, Dr. Bangura, can come in.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, like you, in your intro, you basically highlighted the debate. It's still an ongoing debate, and again, it has to do with a lot of the situating it within our own culture. Because for me, all of this concept, we can add value to this concept if we are able to situate it within our own context. Because these are global issues, they are upon us, and we really need to see how we can adopt and adapt our systems and our frameworks to now accommodate some of these advancements in science. Because these are lively issues, Dr. Pascal. We live with situations where we have female folks who can't give birth to a child, either because of some medical ailment or some mishaps in the process of growing, their evolution in life. So if science has brought an opportunity for us to really have a child outside the normal, the natural sequence of giving birth to a child, I think it's a welcoming news. However, again, this brings to light our cultural setting. Because for me, our culture, the question of who owns that child, in surrogacy, you've compartmentalized surrogacy, the surrogacy concept. That you have this one where I carry the child for 9 months. It's not my child anyway, but the fact that I carry that child for 9 months, although biologically I'm not attached to that girl, but sentimentally carrying that child in my womb for 8 months has brought some attachment. It will be difficult culturally for me to go through the pains of motherhood, and at the end of the day, say, no, I don't have them. Yes, you understand? So for me, I think that's one issue that we have to look at. The second is, culturally, how do we see surrogate mothers? The culture will not bode well for our culture. But again, legal, I think Doc really highlighted the issue. Have we been able to codify some of these things into our legal frameworks? You understand? So all of these questions you've raised will be answered if we're able to adopt and adapt the framework and codify them into our legal system. So that basically will address this question of who owns the child at the end of the day, as long as it is well codified in our systems. I think that's...
Thank you, Dr. Mangwe. When I look at looking at the issue, there's sort of anatomy of surrogacy. So many issues arise. One, when you look at it calls for the definition of motherhood. Now, traditionally, a mother conceives, carries pregnancy with them, and bears her baby, and nurtures her baby. With the evolution of society and revolution in scientific technologies, we have come to see an average, so to speak. This thing comes to impact on our idea of parenthood and procreation and family building. When we have egg donor, the genetic mother, different from the biological mother, also different from the intentional mother, adoptive mother. Then, let's assume this child remains with the adoptive mother. Then the biological mother is out there, and the genetic mother is in the other place. When we talk about the regulatory framework, which we got this practice, also look at the issue of right of the child. For the child should have the right identity of knowledge of his identity of origin. Through genetic tracing, through ancestry, all these different tools, the child should be allowed to. in as much as he's staying with the adoptive and the contractual parents, we are given the right to know the identity of even the medical history. And these parties also have the position of leading to sibling marriages, inadvertent incest. So when one is when there is no information about your half siblings, maybe the same egg also is used to have other children, and then you grow up to have affair with your own half sibling. So all these things need to be taken care of in the framework. So what we do is to instigate policy debate that could culminate into having a moral guide in this chaotic world, provide a guide for ethical conduct in bioethics. And when you look at this kind of issue, in the former Birmingham case, at best the woman refused to surrender the baby. It becomes legal issue. In Nigeria in particular, we don't have laws guiding all this. So we still make allusion to Western practice as our guide. But our aim is to evolve local laws that will handle these cases. Like for example, among the Akan people of Ghana, there is a matrilineal society. So the child is related to the mother on that side. So in the case of surrogacy, when a different mother donates egg, a different woman carries the pregnancy, and a different woman adopts the child. If you bring it to their cultural practice, there is a question: who will this child be connected with? Is it the adoptive mother? Is it the birth mother? Is it the genetic mother? That's another problem. But the practice of surrogacy also brings the question of the definition of motherhood, whereby like Joseph Fletter will tell you that parenthood is not all about flesh and blood, it's about moral commitment. In other words, who provides that care that is definitive of a mother in the international sense. But when you look at it, parenthood is not about flesh and blood. That means the woman does not need to undergo sort of pregnancy and childbirth in order to be called a mother. So our own traditional understanding of motherhood is going to be modified with the advent and application of technology to human reproduction. So surrogate motherhood remains a practice that needs not total rejection, but ethical guide to the practice. In the state of Colombia and US, for example, their practice is different. The law states that if a child is born through this kind of process, the intended parents are the parents of the child. And the child should have all the privileges, rights accrued from parents to children. So there will be no issue of genetic parent this way or the biological parent. Talk about the person who is like the foster child, who adopted the child, who takes custody of the child. The child will have the right of inheritance. But we also need to make it possible for, to not be an anonymous practice. The origin of where the egg is coming from should be known, so that the child will also have right to clear away that genealogical void that it creates when you don't know where you come from, who are you, can ask yourself, who am I? So that genealogical void that's created by surrogacy has to be clear. Because if you understand or know where you are coming from, where you belong, or your genetic origin, also enhances your self-image. So it also starts psychological aspect. So we should not blur that information from the child. So the price of surrogate motherhood also creates issue of commercialization. We see what they call commercialization of the womb. There is a kind of new kind of business that's replacing prostitution. Thereby, young ladies will advertise their womb. Say, my womb is available for rent. Maybe at so and so amount of money. So it has this on that slippery slope. Also, egg selling. Like young girls from 9 years below who have viable eggs. So make their eggs available for sale. So this issue of commercialization is what don't be looked at. So that we see that this has to be an altruistic act, not a commercial act. So though someone that donates eggs should be compensated, but it should not be a commercial enterprise. About we demean parenthood and procreation for the sake of money or monetize human body. So Dr. Bangura, this is the kind of problem that we see with surrogacy. I don't know whether you have any practical experience or testimony of this kind of thing in your culture.
Yeah, let me just, before I even come to our own culture, but there is a case of, this popular Michael Jackson, his last son, is it Prince? It's called Prince, eh? Prince came from a surrogate mother. But at the end of the day, the mother really wanted a claim over the child. But Michael says, no, I paid you off, I bought this was the agreement. So even in the West, it's not only, but let me come to our culture where it's not directly linked to surrogacy, but then I just want to drive the home of that intimacy, and then how do you really trying to delink somebody from parent, how that might be disastrous, and sometimes, it happens within our own society where this was a case where this young lady gave birth to a daughter. We had this rich woman in the neighborhood. This daughter, the other family was poor, they were suffering. This rich woman had a very good job working in the UN, but then she cannot get a child. She now wanted to adopt, the child of the poor family. And then they agreed, she adopted, they went through all the legal means. She now took custody of that child. You understand? Exposed that child to the highest level, educated that girl she went to MIT, Princeton University, did some very good courses. But at the end of the day, she never wanted that link between the child and the biological mother. You understand? So there came a time where the biological mother was now asking for her child. You understand? That thing created a lot of fiasco. But then we can situate it in this concept of surrogacy, where intimacy is. Somebody has carried child for 9 months, and you say, no, this child, you sever that relationship, So these are some of the cultural impediments and cultural challenges that we have to face. But then it takes a whole lot of sensitization, and the fact that we have the Gen Zs, the new generation that are looking at things from a different perspective, I think they will basically embrace some of these innovations better than, we, the people, the older generation that believes in this cultural heritage, So that's just a case in point, Dr. Pascal.
Okay, our takeaway from this is that, surrogate motherhood should not be outlawed because it has its benefit.
Yes.
People, but it has to be regulated, considering the right of the child, the right of the parties involved, and then because of its good consequence to families, bring joy to families. So we still need to continue to examine this within the context of our local cultures to see how we can be better practical. All these kind of practice coming to happen. We see that something is happening in the far distant time. But it's coming. We're having families that are challenged and they're going to it secretly. But when you do it, make it a clandestine practice, you're also endangering the right of the child.
But I think, Dr. Pascal, again, this is just like we are introducing the concept. But in future conversation on this topic, we need an intergenerational approach where you have people of different ages, so that you have people who are the Gen Zs, the Gen X, and the Gen Y, who can bring different perspective on this, so that we broaden the scope and see who really is open to some of this. It's like even technology. The Gen Y, or what you call the Gen X, the older generation, they are not tech savvy. They are averse to technology, whilst the Gen Z is more adept to technology. So maybe an intergenerational approach to the discourse will also, give a better insight into
that would be very helpful. That's why when we do, we try to open them from the feedback we get from our viewers and other participants. We then channel it, narrow it down to the other. It will become like a debate.
Yeah.
So that we all brainstorm and then have many voices that will interact and come up with a policy suggestion that can push to policymakers, because the practice is something that has come to be. The use of technology, human reproduction has come to stay, has become a clinical reality. So we cannot shy away from it. All we need is to normalize around this usage with the intention of bettering the condition of human person, improve human life and flourishing. So thank you, Dr. Bangura and Dr. Todo.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.